I'm just going to apologise right here and right now because I've obviously been on a break. Karis and I have been on a break. So when we saw this film, we saw it over a week ago. I didn't make any notes for it. It's going to be a bit of a mess. I'm going to try and keep it short and concise. Famous last words. And I'm going to just try and let you guys know what I think and let you know if I should recommend it or not. So, yeah, sorry for this really different, unanalytic kind of Film Friday. It's going to be just basically a very quick summing up. So, with that out the way, roll the intro, Karen! Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome back to Caddy's Film Fridays, where we talk about films and films happen. And today we're going to be talking about Finding Dory. Yes, the Pixar sequel that everyone wanted since Toy Story 2, didn't want Cars 2, and they really want The Incredibles 2. Although I could swear to God myself that this was the canonical sequel to The Incredibles? I could swear it was. I remember when this game came out, it's not a very good game, but I remember when it came out, everyone was saying that it was the sequel, because, I mean, there's the Underminer, and that's where he pops up at the end of the first movie, and I swear that Pixar, they pushed this as the actual sequel to The Incredibles, which would be fucking disappointing if it was, and if they do an Incredibles 2, I really don't know what they're going to do if this is what they blew their load on, but, you know, whatever, I'm not going to go into that. I just think people should remember when Pixar try to hide embarrassments and stuff. Anyway, yes, Finding Dory. Well, this is the sequel to Finding Nemo. What did I think of it? You know what? It's a bloody good movie. I do have problems with it, but you know what? It's a bloody fucking good movie, and let's talk about it right now. No need to flee, this is spoiler free. So Finding Nemo was a story about Nemo, Marlin, and they're both clownfish. They get lost away from each other, and they have to go and find each other. Well, Nemo gets taken away on a boat into a dentist's, fish tank with all these other exotic fish, and then Marlin has to somehow get to Australia to go and get them back. It's a good movie. It's not one of my Pixar favourites, but it's definitely a solid movie, a solid story, loads of solid characters. It's basically like a really twisted road trip movie, and all the characters they meet in their journey are very memorable, very likeable, quite funny, and it's just a good movie. Good, ending and everything. It's just good. It's just a good movie. And Finding Dory continues that very, very solidly. But here's the thing with Finding Dory. As a standalone movie, it's really good. But as a sequel to Finding Nemo, I might even say it's better than Finding Nemo. It's actually, as a sequel, it does its job perfectly. It practically finishes off straight after from what Finding Nemo was doing, so I would say, I know there's obviously time jumps and everything, but you could watch back to back each one, and every single one is you can tell exactly what the filmmakers were doing. It is basically trying to make one massive long story. The first half of the story being Finding Nemo, which is then about Marlin's backstory and how Nemo came to be and what Nemo and his father's relationship is like and what they do when they get separated and get back together again and all that stuff. And then this time, it goes back into Dory's past. So Marlin and Nemo completely shoved off. They're not main... I wouldn't even argue they're main characters, honestly. Dory is the main character with a couple of other quirky little people. Fish, rather. But as a sequel, it does its job so well. Everything plot-wise and character-wise, it just carries over from Finding Nemo. And that's the problem, yet the best thing about it, because that's what I'm saying. It follows on from Finding Nemo so perfectly, yet as a standalone movie, there are one or two jokes which have no context and are just references. For instance, the seagulls, they come back for less than 30 seconds, and all they do, they're just flying overhead and they just sound, mite, and you know, if you know the joke, it's cute to see it, but if you don't have a clue what it is and you've jumped into Finding Dory as a first-time Nemo viewer, you aren't going to know what it is. There's no context to it. In Finding Nemo, there's context because they're shouting mine because they want to grab the clownfish and eat them, and they're all arguing over it, and that's what seagulls are like. But just having them fly over and having them shout mine with no context, it's just a fucking reference. That's all it is. And it wasn't clever. It wasn't too funny. I didn't laugh. I don't think anybody in the bloody theatre was laughing. So there's a couple of bits or pieces like that, and also you'll be able to notice that in the setup of Dory getting lost, as it were, and Marlin and Nemo needing to go and find her, there's a couple of setups which are very similar to Finding Nemo, which are, yes, they're mentioned by the characters, so Marlin's like, oh, I'm not doing this with the boat again, because Dory gets lost in a boat and then gets taken off in a boat like what Nemo was doing. And there's just tiny little bits like that, which then, as like I said, as an original first-time viewer, it won't mean anything. It will be confusing. It might be a little bit like, why was that in the script? But if you've watched Nemo, it works really fucking damn well. So that's the kind of Achilles heel of the film. The fact that it works perfectly as a sequel, but as a standalone movie, it's not as strong, which Finding Nemo manages to do on both accounts. It was also nice to see that the story, it had a logical reasoning behind why it was being kicked off. Nemo, it was he was arguing with his dad and then gets accidentally taken away. And with Finding Dory, the trailers were making it look like she walked away and they lost her. And I was thinking, if that's the fucking story, then that's going to be pathetic. But no, it turns out that Dory starts remembering things about her family, which is another massive theme of the film. You can call the film Finding Dory not only because they're actually finding a lost Dory that vanished from their friend group, but also finding Dory as in herself, her mind. She's finding herself. She's finding her origins. She's finding her parents, her family. And again, in the first movie, that is so briefly touched upon when Marlin and Dory first meet. She says to herself, oh yeah, this short-term memory loss runs in my family, but I think it does. Where are they? And the first thing that I said to Karis when Dory's parents became a major plot point, her family, her origins and everything, the first thing I said was, in the first movie, she says that. She says that in the first movie, and it's almost like it's explained. Again, it works perfectly as a sequel on its own, it's a bit confusing, but it explains exactly why Dory was just lounging around doing nothing, and it explains perfectly how her short-term memory loss completely fucking made her forget about what she was actually doing and made her then help like Marlin in the first movie. So it's almost like Finding Nemo for Dory was basically just this weird backtrack in which she got some friends out of it, and now she's back on the quest that she should have been on in Finding Nemo. And it's really cool how even since, when was Finding Nemo made? 2003? I want to say 2003, 2004, I don't know when it was made actually, but it was a long time ago, and ever since then, it was almost like every idea that Finding Dory has was thought about. Everything that Dory acts like, everything she does, everything she says, when it doesn't seem to have a point or context in Finding Nemo, it's fully explained, it's fully gone into depth, and it's fully taken advantage of in Finding Dory. Like with what she says in a very quick passing, "Where are my family?" in the first movie, which is then exactly what the whole point of the next movie is. It's very clever how it links together in that way. And yeah, like I said, Finding Dory, she's finding herself, and the more she remembers the flashbacks that she keeps getting and everything, like I said, it explains every little characteristic, everything she says, everything she believes, and everything she does. And it's really cool to, as the movie keeps going on, see Dory just develop more as a character the more she remembers and realizes why she is and who she is at the same time. It's self-realization, but also strengthening herself as a character as well. She's adding layers onto herself while realizing, she's like catching up with herself, as it were. And as a story like that, it works so well. The flashbacks are so perfectly placed in where they need to be. The flashbacks are adorable, I'm gonna be honest. And when I said about the plot with her getting lost, I thought the trailers made it look like she sleptwalked in the UK trailers at least. They made it look like she just buggered off in her sleep. And I was thinking that was gonna be lame. And actually what it turns out, she's looking for her family, she remembers things. And instead of the importance of that, and the seriousness it should have been taken, Marlin actually acts like a complete fucking arsehole. I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I know Marlin was overprotective of Nemo in the first movie, and his character was very stubborn and everything because of what he'd been through in the past with his wife getting killed and all of his hundreds of other babies and everything. But the most out-of-character thing I've ever seen a Pixar character do is in Finding Dory, and that's Marlin basically saying to Dory, all you're good at doing is getting lost and forgetting shit. Basically is what he says, because Nemo gets hurt, even though he's constantly saying he's fine. And I thought, holy shit, at the time I thought, oh fuck, did they really just do that? Is that the excuse? Dory is now going to run away because Marlin said the most out-of-character thing. What a pathetic excuse for a plot is this? But then, to my surprise, there's not only a fantastic reconciliation scene later on, and not even just an apology scene, but a really thoughtful and deep and emotional moment between Marlin and Dory, which you don't see in Finding Nemo, apart from when Marlin thinks that Nemo is dead and Dory doesn't want Marlin to leave her alone. Apart from that, so it's another one of those kinds of moments. And also, Nemo is constantly jabbing at Marlin for everything he said in the past, because even he knew it was out of character. And I like it when films that use that kind of plot device address the issues of what the main character did. It's not like, oh, he said it and then Dory ran away and then, oh, I made a mistake, we gotta go and find her. It's actually it haunts Marlin through the whole thing, because Nemo keeps on reminding him what a dick he was and everything. And then there's the scene when they make up, but they don't just make up. It's not just a, I'm sorry, Dory. It's actually a proper full-on, really well written scene and everything. It's great. It's really great. And like I said, it's awesome to see the origins of Dory and her piecing together everything. I mean, you could say it could be a little bit too coincidental in some places, but do you know what? As the film stands, it's really fun to see it, and it's really well done. Also, it's Pixar. It looks fucking amazing. I wouldn't say, though, it looks better than Finding Nemo. This is something that's kind of weird. Even though there's so many more years of technology, I'm sure there are subtleties that I didn't notice in Finding Nemo that I have noticed this time around, or vice versa. And if I watched both movies back to back, you'd be able to tell the differences immediately. But it looks very similar in that sense. It still looks amazing, though, and the character designs are absolutely goddamn perfect. Didn't dislike any of them, and yeah, it's really great in that sense. I mean, there's even a little fucking amazing joke. The fact that Dory's dad is a slightly aging version of her fish species. I don't know what kind of fish they are, I'm sorry. And they've got like black markings, these fish. Like Dory, she has these black markings on her, and her mum has the black markings, but the dad doesn't have the black markings until it gets to about here on his head, so he has a receding hairline, but it's not hair, it's like patterns on his scales. That kind of shit is so clever. It's so fucking clever. And much like Finding Nemo, Finding Dory is indeed a road trip movie. A little bit more inclusive, not worldwide, not crazy. But when it does use old characters, it's literally just passing. So Crush comes back with Squirt, the two little turtles. Was that what their names? Crush and Squirt? Was that what their names? Yeah, it is. Yeah, Crush and Squirt. Yeah. So yeah, they come back. The turtles, they come back. But and you think they're gonna milk it or they're gonna reference more shit, but no, they come back. They do their job, and then that's that. It's literally less than a minute. So that's all right. Again, works perfectly, following off from the first movie. And that stuff's all great. Mr. Ray comes back, and he's not in it as much as he was in Finding Nemo, but the jokes that they use with him just singing, even on its own, is fucking funny. But it's still funny as it is. And of course, let's not forget the other characters in Finding Dory. Hank, was it Hank the octopus? Oh my bloody god. The thing with Finding Dory is that this is what I think it does fantastically. I think the journey of Finding Nemo, the worldwide quest, and all of these different exotic fish that everyone comes across, and the sharks and everything, and all the memorable bits that happen in that movie, that's kind of taken away. The scale of the journey is taken down to a much smaller area of Dory just needing to find out where her parents were stationed in this particular world, in this particular like this, I can't even remember what it was, like a fish hospital, I guess is the way I could call it. So it's a much smaller scale journey, as it were, but the journey and the scale of it is replaced by the characters. All of the characters are fucking great. Every single one. Did not dislike a single one of them, even if they were in it for not that long at all. Like Becky, the seagull, or whatever. Was she a seagull? I'm sorry, I can't remember. I really can't remember. This is the problem. She wasn't a pelican, was she? No, she was a seagull? I can't remember. But there's all these different tiny little characters, but the tiny side characters, like the sea lions, if they were sea lions, I'm going to upset so many people who know what they're talking about with nature. There's the sea lions, and the other birds, and the other fish, and the whales, and oh my bloody god, it is just, they're so well written, so memorable, so likeable, so brilliantly voice acted, that the characters in Finding Dory trump anything Finding Nemo has going for it. I'm sorry if you love Finding Nemo's characters, I do like them as well, but in terms of everything, they get everything right in Finding Dory. Every single character that is come across in the journey not only serves as like a link to Dory's past and her backstory, or if not, a new character that she's never met before. If that's the case, oh my god, they are so well done for however they pop, especially Hank the octopus. He's perfect. The slapstick is perfect. And this is the thing as well, I think the film is funnier than Finding Nemo. It is definitely more comedy orientated, and 90% of the time the jokes hit. Every single one is funny. I laughed actually out loud to myself a few times. And I haven't done that in a Pixar movie for a long time, probably since Toy Story 2, I would think. I can't really think, actually. But it does what it does so well. And I'm not just talking about the jokes that relate to the first movie, I'm talking about the original jokes, the jokes about the fish that Dory meets up that she hasn't known for years and years of her life. All of a sudden, like they know who she is, and then she remembers who they are. So for us, they're new characters, and almost for Dory, they're new characters as well. That's what's the clever thing. It's like she remembers them, but she's still new to them because of her memory. So it's new to the audience, so it's new to Dory. It's a nice little way to have a character, like, not feel like the audience is out of the loop in that sense. But whenever they come back, every joke that they make, relevant to the context of the situation, completely disregarding the first movie, just their relationship between them and Dory, or them and the other fish in the aquarium slash, like hospital-y place and everything. Oh my god, it's great. It's really, really great. It's so fucking funny. And I can't really actually say that Finding Nemo is so fucking funny, but I can say Finding Dory is so fucking funny. When it wants to be adorable, it's adorable. When it wants to be emotional, it's emotional. When it wants to be funny, it's funny. The slapstick is good, like I said. It's just really, really good shit. And when the story gets progressively more ridiculous and tense, Finding Nemo had some tense moments. There were moments where Nemo and Marlin would be right next to each other, but they don't see each other. And I love it when films do that, in films where you have to look for a missing person or something. But Finding Dory does that, but takes it to the fucking extreme. Because not only is Dory trying to find her family, but Nemo, that's the thing, because Nemo is just trying to find Marlin, and Marlin's just trying to find Nemo. But this is the great thing about Finding Dory. Dory's trying to find her family, and then she gets lost. So Nemo and Marlin have to go and find Dory, who then want to help her to find her family. But then, to do that, Dory needs to get help from an escaped octopus, who wants to go into captivity, because he doesn't want to be in the bit anymore, where they're all stationed. So he's constantly out of his tank and hiding everywhere and just being fucking hilarious. And being paranoid and everything. So there's all these different, like, motivations and stuff, and they don't clash. They all actually work together really well. And by the end of it, you're seeing an octopus driving a truck with Dory giving directions over a highway, and then they jump the highway through the woods into the ocean so that everyone's free and everyone's together. And oh, it's just ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous, but it's so funny and it's built up so well. And when it gets to the bits where, because the journey itself, this is what I think is good about Finding Dory as well, the more claustrophobic nature of it, because with the journey of Finding Nemo, you never really feel like when the journey begins that Marlin has a chance, and you're rooting for him, but you never really feel like, until the last 10th, like, oh my god, they're so close to each other, oh, Nemo's not really dead, oh, blah, 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 blah. But then, with Finding Dory, because everything is so much closer together, and they're always so close together, whether or not they be in different buildings on the same site or anything, you always feel like from the second they both get to the same area, which doesn't take long, it takes about half an hour for them to get to the same area, then the rest of the film is them trying to find each other and get out of that area. So, for the last bit of the movie, there are so many more moments that are used for the finding nature of everything. So many moments where they just miss each other, so many moments where they, like, mistake each other, so many moments where they get stuck in a situation they can't get out, and you don't have a clue how they're going to get out. And there's so many more moments like that, and they're made so much more tense and so much more entertaining by the fact that they are always within a couple of feet from each other most of the time. Obviously, okay, not a couple of feet, but they're always within the same radius, and you just never know where it's going to go next. I had no idea how the film was going to end. I didn't know who was going to get out, who was going to... like, at some points I thought some characters would die, you know? I mean, it's one of those kinds of, I really didn't know what was going on, and I like it when I don't know what's going on. And I won't spoil anything, but I will say that there's one bit of the film where you find out where Dory's parents are. I won't say what their condition is, won't say where they are, I'm not spoiling it, but when you find that out, and you find out the location and everything, and then you think back to the beginning of the film when Dory first loses her parents when she was a baby, there's this really sudden, sharp, sad realization on if one character had just waited a little bit longer, the whole bloody thing wouldn't have happened. Finding Nemo probably wouldn't have happened, and Finding Dory probably would have happened. And that sudden realization, which isn't a plot point that's at all illustrated, it's just there for the audiences to pick up on and link between the end and the beginning of the film. When I realized that, I was like, oh my god, how goddamn depressing. And I didn't see that coming, honestly, but when it did happen, I was yeah, it was pretty damn good. But I won't spoil what it is. I just really liked it. That's all I'm gonna say. And yeah, I can't really say much more than that. Without my notes and everything, I can't go into any specifics. But there you go. It's really damn great. So on the recommendation scale, I give Finding Dory, if you treat it as a part 2, as a sequel in its own right to Finding Nemo, a must-see. Easily must-see. Especially if you loved the first one, Finding Nemo. If you loved that, you're gonna adore this movie. I know I did. But then, as a movie on its own, if you haven't seen Finding Nemo, then highly recommend it, because there are still elements and still bits and pieces, and obviously the story itself of not only just finding where Dory's gone, but finding Dory within herself. Lots of it won't mean anything, it won't mean as much, it won't make much sense. It does rely on a lot of the links between that and the first movie, so I can't recommend it that much if you haven't seen Finding Nemo, but I still can highly recommend it for you. I think it's just testament to Pixar, honestly, that they not only created a sequel to one of the most popular and highly praised movies that they ever made, and didn't just fucking do it for the sake of it. Everything in Finding Dory feels like it was placed there for a reason. Everything was thought about. The humour is way better than the first one as an escapes slash finding missing kind of movie. I think it's actually better than the first one, purely because of how close knit everything is, and I think the characters that everyone meets across are way more memorable and way funnier. The plot points are imaginative. The way that everything just culminates into this what the fuck at the end is just joyous to watch. It's as it stands, it's really damn good, and it's great to see that Pixar could have done that. And they could have done it half-assedly. Like I said, when I saw the trailers, I thought it was just going to be, oh, Dory slept, walked off. And it's just great how, instead of exploiting everyone's potential, well, I would say arguably everyone's favourite character from the first movie, because everyone loved Dory when that fucking movie came out, but instead of exploiting them and just taking the money for what it was, it feels like something that was thought about from the beginning, but they just couldn't have time to fit it into Finding Nemo. That's what it feels like. So, if you look at it like that, wow, it's great. And there's obviously, you know, pop culture, it works great. Well, okay, there's one or two things like that, but, you know, I mean, Sigourney Weaver, there's a Sigourney Weaver joke, which is very funny, but, again, so there's a couple of things like that. Nothing too crazy, though, not like Toy Story 2 levels of that kind of stuff. But, like, it just works well as its own story, and if you look at it as a sequel to Finding Nemo, it's fucking great. So, yeah, there you go. If it's your birthday or watching this video, happy freaking birthday to you. Please remember to stay beautiful, and I'll see everybody next time. Ta-ra.